Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to the show. So today we have a cast coming your way. It's going down on Points of Reach. It's a 4v4 team matchmaker, which seems to be the flavor of the, I guess, forever at this point. I am joined by the wonderful, wandering, willfully, wispy Willow's Duality. I was trying to do the alliteration thing you did on our barcast, and I obviously messed it up. But Willow, say hello to everybody. Hello.
Oh man, yeah, that was wonderful. I was gonna flex, but I forgot to in the barcast. I was gonna go afterwards. I was like, that alliteration was all right, and I'll just keep going on with it. Too.
That alliteration was all right. Some might say amicably amusing.
But yeah, glad to be here, and I guess we can get into player introductions.
Yes, let's get to it. So, starting with the far western island, we have Gula, who's going UEF opening first land. His teammate to the north going for, I believe, the air position in this map. It's going to be Kamer, and he's going UEF also first land on working on the hydro right now. Next, we've got, I cannot speak today, man. And I've already started this, so we're committing at this point. We have Exterminator Hun, who's going Cybran opening first land. Huge fan of that name because I am of Germanic descent, so I'm sure that I had some Hun ancestors out there somewhere. Next, we've got Shazam Aka, who's going UEF opening first land. And I'm going to leave it to Willow to introduce team number 2.
All right, we have ourselves, I believe that's an orange Aeon going by the name of Flying Donut.
Oh my god, it's a Cybran.
Oh, a Cybran. Sorry, I got Aeon on the brain. I always do. Then down to the south of him, we have a red Cybran going first air. His name, of course, is Terminator 619. And then to the west of him, we have a yellow UEF by the name of Morax. And to the south of him, we have a red Aeon. There was an Aeon somewhere in there. I by the name of, what is that? That is Voided Marrow.
That is correct.
I can't speak either. So you know what? We're going tit for tat on the language barriers.
Yeah, I mean, but I stumbled over my alliteration. You called Cybran Aeon. That's
If you go watch my first like 40 casts, I swear every single time I tried to say Cybran, I said Seraphim for some reason.
You know what's funny is every time whenever I script out, as we've got a T1 bomber now harassing some of Exterminator's Tech 1 engineers. Yeah, he's gonna pick up a couple of them. Actually, one survives, just barely. But whenever I script any of my videos, like my science videos or things like that, I always spell Cybran with an S. I don't know why. It's just the way my brain works, and I constantly have to go back and correct it.
But yeah, but I'm not even a little bit ashamed about calling a Cybran Aeon because he just chose the wrong faction. He misclicked. Aeon is the best.
I thought you were wait, what are you now? Are you still Aeon main? You've changed a couple times, so I can't remember.
Yeah, I went Aeon, then Cybran, then UEF, and now I'm back to Aeon. There was a brief stint. I was going through a phase.
It's a circle of life. What can you say?
I am consistent on what I don't like, though. I'm never gonna play Seraphim.
That is true. I don't understand why. I'm curious. Enlighten me.
At this point, it's just for the memes. It started off by I don't like their units or how they look, and then it just became a meme, and I just roll with it.
Oh, so you're like an aesthetic gamer in that sense, where you're looking for the aesthetics of the models.
Yeah, my favorite aesthetically is still Cybran, but I also it's aesthetics and lore are what I decide everything based off, and I'm just way too drawn to the religious crusader like thing. I just find it so funny.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that do you play a musical instrument by any chance? We did not talk about any of this, so he's going off the rails.
Yeah, I played the recorder in elementary and middle school, and I dabbled in guitar for a bit. I can play like 12 songs on the guitar. Not Wonderwall, surprisingly. I'm not sure why I didn't learn that one.
Dude, I actually never learned that song either. And I feel like that's one I literally, so it's funny you mentioned that one because I specifically remember. So we're gonna go Duelist history lesson here because there's not a whole lot happening in the game right now.
This isn't a co-cast, this is a podcast.
That's a good point. It's Willow and Duelist podcast. So in college, I was terrible at approaching girls. Like the only time I ever did was this girl that I sat next to in marketing, and I could make her laugh in class. She was cute, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna shoot my shot, and we'll see how it goes. So I walked up to her and I was like, hey, you know, you're really pretty. Do you want to like go get coffee or something like that? And she was like, I have a boyfriend. And literally, I just like vapor locked and ran away, and was walking out of the business building. It was just like, that was probably the dumbest thing I've ever done. And then just started laughing at myself. So what I resorted to was Tinder.
That's how I met your mother.
No, that was actually not. We are getting to that. But I resorted to Tinder later, which is actually how I met my wife, over Tinder. So we are one of those like online dating success stories, I guess you hear.
My sister's the same. My sister and my brother-in-law met on, I believe, Tinder.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But as we got a transport laden with, I believe, engineers out from Exterminator, headed towards Flying Donuts base. But we
that's totally gonna fail. On this map, you have to get that transport out way earlier, and you don't go towards the main base, in my opinion.
Yeah. But we'll go ahead and follow it just to watch the failure, because I'm pretty sure it will. But anyway, to tie into your Wonderwall thing, I was like meeting girls on Tinder, and I can't remember how we got on the topic, but there was one girl that I exchanged like 5 or 6 messages with, and as the engineers dropped just outside the base, and we got on the topic because I do play electric guitar, and she was like, oh, so you can obviously play Wonderwall, right? I had no idea this was a meme. Okay, I'm like a shut-in gamer dude. Okay, I had heard Wonderwall like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, I don't know, but I bet I could learn it maybe. And she was like, yeah, I'll bet you could. And I was like, I probably could. It doesn't sound like that complicated of a song. And then she stopped messaging me, and it wasn't until I told one of my friends that they were like, yep, she was memeing on you. And I was like, oh, that's funny.
That's pretty great, not gonna lie. And sorry if my audio is a little bit scuffed. Discord wasn't picking me up if I was laughing, so I just changed the Discord setting, but I was laughing through half of that.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know how to play Wonderwall, but I think there is one song that pretty much everybody who's ever tried guitar has played, and that is Smoke on the Water, at least the intro.
Hell yeah.
Because it is the easiest song in the world to play. You could literally play that song if you only had 2 fingers.
Yeah, you actually, well, close. No, you could. Well, you need between on like one hand or between both hands.
I think you could do it between both hands because you could just use like the pad of your hand to probably strum if you were like, if you would put your mind to it. You could use a toe or something to strum.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. Anyway, the whole reason we got onto this topic is because you were talking about how you like the aesthetics for certain models over others, and there's this thing with electric guitar players where they have to like the look of the guitar, otherwise they will not like the guitar, regardless of how it sounds. It can sound awesome, but if they don't like the look of it, they will never play it.
So I learned guitar in a guitar class that was a classical guitar class at my school. Don't know how to read sheet music. Had to print out tabs for literally every assignment. And I only know how to read tabs. I can't read sheet music to save my life.
Me neither.
But with that, I know that like classical guitars and acoustic guitars really, really sound different. I've played quite a few. They really sound different based on like who made it, what it's made out of, and all that. Is that the same for electric guitars? I figured it would not be as like wide varying because electric guitars are more, well, they're like based on electronics. I guess strings could change that.
So it does change actually a pretty good amount. but it depends on what kind of pickups you use. So the pickups and the magnets and the pickups that detect the vibrations of the strings will drastically alter the way that the guitar actually sounds.
So the wood itself, or whatever the actual like body of the guitar is, that doesn't particularly matter.
I mean, I'm about to get a whole lot of hate. I don't really notice a difference. I've got a couple of different. I've got guitars with like different wood. So I've got basswood. I've got maple. I've got a couple of guitars with mahogany bodies. I do not really notice that much of a difference. I notice way more difference in the pickups. I'm gonna get flamed so hard in the comments down below because people are like, tone wood is it's all about the tone wood.
You legit need to like on the title of this cast, it needs to say podcast instead of co-cast.
That's actually a good point.
We've talked about the game for like 3 seconds. Let's get on it really quick. So far, I like the naval play coming out of the southern team. I really like that both Morax and Voided Marrow are doing really well with their navies. They have decent T1 navies. As long as they're scaling their economy all right, it should be fine. And we're talking about relatively good players here, so I'm not worried about them messing up their economies. Even though, oh, that was weird. I thought for a second that Voided Marrow control K'd all his T2 mexes because they looked funky to me. They looked like they didn't exist for a second.
Yeah, it's the Aeon models. They're shit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue.
No comment.
Listen, there are good and bad Aeon models. I'll agree with you. I still think Cybran looks the best, but also Aeon has the best units, so suck it.
That is true. And talking about the game, there are pretty different strategies, I think, coming out of specifically both of the rear players on these islands. So for Voided Marrow, he's just now going for Tech 2 Navy, prioritize Tech 2 Air, and it's literally the exact opposite for Shazam over on the other side. So still at Tech 1 Air, prioritizing a little bit more of that Tech 2 Navy. And then for what I think, yeah, this would be the air players. So Kamer is at Tech 3 Air, getting his Tech 3 P gen up, and his opponent, which would be Terminator, very similar position. So Tech 3 Air, getting his Tech 3 P gen up, a little bit of a different choice in build style, actually going for some hives, which is interesting choice there. But yeah, differences in approaches coming out from all the players, I think.
On this map in particular, I feel like the roles are a little bit vague on what you're exactly supposed to do. So generally when me and Thurnis play it, the slot we hate the most is the slot that Flying Donut and his mirror opponent, the purple player, what's his name? I can't read it for some reason. Gula. Those slots, I think those are generally the hardest slots because you are technically 2v1, and if the other side puts a lot of pressure early, it can be very difficult to hold. But they also get more mass extractors, so those could be considered like a carry slot. But generally, the way this map plays out, the players that are in Terminator slot are the general carry slot. They're going to generally have the highest eco, they're going to get T3 air first, but they're also going to be able to produce a lot of Navy because they got more than enough T1 mexes to produce air and Navy from that slot. So they should be very pivotal in the success or failure of their team.
Yeah, it's kind of like a hold the line kind of position, and then if you do well, you're going to do really well, and if you die, you're going to die really quick.
Yeah, I didn't think either of the players in Gula's or Flying Donut's position did a particularly great start, but they were also the lowest rated players per each team, I believe. Generally, if you want some advice on this map, walk your comm to the other side of the island from where you spawn. That's where people are going to drop you. That's where people are going to contest you. No player who knows what they're doing is going to contest at the main base because it's way easier to defend. And you can see that drop that was near the main base, it got wiped out so easily. Even though it wasn't on the main base, it just got destroyed so easily. Where you want to drop if you're on the enemy team or you're going for this is on that on the central side of the map, that area right there where we're looking at. That's generally where you're going to have the most success dropping, and you can even do a comm drop if you're feeling spicy.
Ooh, spicy. You're also feeling dangerous.
Nah, just spicy. Spicy is better than danger.
Dude, have you ever had something that's like super spicy? Like you're getting into danger territory there.
Well, then you don't need to say it's dangerous and spicy, because spicy is danger. See, I'm. Why use mini word when few do trick?
What? Very good. Pop culture reference. He nailed it. Ladies and gentlemen, please round of applause for Willow. I'm so proud of you.
Speaking of all these boats and everything going on, we have this little attack coming out, of course, towards Yellow's, Morax's naval yards. Looks like he's going to be able to even pick them up if he's focus firing, and that's going to be pretty huge. But another thing with boats, do you like going out on boats? Do you like going out in the sea? I know you're from Texas. Maybe you go out on the Gulf sometimes.
So, funny you ask. I've talked about this a couple of times on casts, but I swam in high school and college. I hate the water. Like, I don't like. Well, I do coach a swim team, but that's because I do it for the kids, man. Like, I don't do it.
I coach this sport, but I vehemently hate it.
Well, okay. It's not that I hate it, because I do swim still for like physical fitness, but I don't. I can't just like get into a pool and swim to have fun. Like, my brain has been so conditioned that it's like, I'm in a pool, I'm doing laps. Like, I'm doing a set, I'm doing a workout. And I can't do it anymore. Like, I don't go to the pool, ever. For fun.
I've gotten super competitive with my friends on Beat Saber currently, and I can't just play maps to have fun anymore there. We're all going for top scores on pretty much every map against each other, and I'm doing like second best out of my group of like 6 people, and I'm super happy with that.
I was really curious how you were going to transition from like doing laps in a pool to Beat Saber whenever you opened up that, but you pulled it off.
Yeah, man. I got the transitions for days. I'm like one of those gender therapists.
Okay. Thank you for demonetizing my video.
There was nothing demonetizable about that.
That's true. You're right. All right.
I didn't say anything negative or positive.
Or positive. You are correct.
I just spread information. I said I'm a gender therapist.
All right. Moving on from that. Flying Donut under pressure. He's got Tech 2 Navy in his in kind of his bay area. Lost some of his naval yards. Is getting torpedo on his commander. Not going for Tech 2 as of yet on any of his naval yards. I think one of them is blocked up with an engineer. And then over on the eastern or the western side of the map, we've got kind of a coalition here between Kamar and that's going to be Gula. Squaring off against Morax and Voided Marrow.
It's surprisingly easy to have that happen where an engineer will block building on your factories. The easiest way to avoid that is just do move command before assist command. It's one extra click, and you just move command behind any factory you're using, and don't put your factories too close to each other.
I just do a rally point.
Yeah, well, good.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm trying to be argumentative whenever I have nothing to argue about. Like, there's nothing wrong with a rally point. I'm just in a we need to go play some FAF now. I'm in a fighting mood. I'm gonna 1v1 you again.
What is the so whenever you were talking about, as we actually do have a Tech 2 HQ out from Flying Donut that I think is gonna go up in flames. This donut's gonna be launched into orbit here, but whenever you were saying move command after assist command, can you elaborate there?
So you select your engineers, and even if you're doing like a say you have a rally point and you have a bunch of engineers getting near the factories to assist from a land factory. You select all the engineers that you want to assist the factory the way you would, and then you hold shift, you do a move command, and then you hit assist, but you do the move command on the side of the factory that isn't producing. The reason that engineers get stuck and stop production is they'll be given assist command on the other side, and pathfinding will get confused. They'll try to go to the other side of the factory, but they'll just get as close to it as possible, right where the unit's being built. So
Oh,
you
okay,
just give a
gotcha.
move, you give a move command before, so that way it's not doing the auto-generated pathfinding. It does a different form of pathfinding, from what I understand, than the assist one. Because assist wants it to sit at a very particular spot, and it can get stuck where the factory is actually supposed to produce units, and then it won't build. Which I don't know why it doesn't build. Like, it feels like the factory should take precedence there. Kill the engineer if you need to. It's an engineer.
Yeah, just set your factory. Factories do have build power, so they should have reclaim. Just have
Yeah,
it
just
reclaim the engineer.
have it set up to reclaim anything that's in its build area.
Yeah. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Makes sense to my monkey brain.
Yeah, I'm not a programmer or coder or anything. It's not my problem. It's the monkeys behind FAF's problem, and Chris Taylor to a point, his team.
That's right. Yeah, blame Chris Taylor.
Yeah. Hashtag it was Chris Taylor's fault.
Yeah, this whole game was Chris Taylor's fault. Everything you are seeing on here, all his fault.
When I bring him up, I really like to point out that he was just the designer. That's huge, but like, they had a huge team at GPG making this game. Like, big team. There were so many people involved.
Yeah, I think I had. So I saw. I can't remember the name of the channel, but one YouTube channel did an interview with Chris Taylor that was like hour and a half long, and I did watch it, and I think he said that like at the height of GPG they had something like, man, I don't know, like 200 employees, 300 employees, something like that.
I know that FA in particular, I think it had somewhere in the range of 130 developers on it.
Okay, so you include like operations and everything like that, and you're getting up to.
I mean, hell, you could just go look at the credits of FA and you could find out the exact number, and I would include all of those. Like, a game is not just who's actually developing it; it's who's doing the marketing, who's doing the designing, who's doing the business decisions, because those do have an effect on the end product.
Well, yeah, I mean, just look at like 343 and Halo.
Yeah.
Like, you want a perfect example of how business decisions, as we've got a strat actually coming in from Kmar. Moving in on Terminator, so I'll hold that thought for a second as Tech2Mex
comes to send a message.
Yeah, going down. And their ASF from Terminator are getting scrambled to respond. That's going to be a second Tech2Mex that's going down. I think that's going to be the only one, though. ASF a little out of position, I think, to be able to protect the strat entirely. He will win an air fight.
It's looking pretty bleak for the southern team. Not having air control on this map is really brutal because torpedo bombers are on any naval map, but this one where every player gets so much mass, especially the players in Terminators, and man, I'm having trouble reading today.
Gamer.
Who's there, Dark? Kamer. Okay, I thought it was Calamar for a second. I was like, I'm gonna get this wrong. Kamer's position. Those two players, they get a lot of mass and they can really throw it into torpedo bombers. But Terminator is just collapsing here. A lot of concerted pressure on him. Luckily, though, Morax and his ally Voided Marrow they're doing pretty good for themselves. Like, they're ecoing up all right. They're going to be in a good spot, but they're just not going to have T3 air in the numbers that they're going to need it very soon.
Yeah, so Morax on 1, 2, 3, 4 Tech 3 Mexes. 5 Tech 3 Mexes, actually. He does have a Tech 3 Navy out, and he has Tech 2 Air. So definitely a force to be reckoned with on kind of both of the consequential fronts in this game as far as Navy and Air. And he does have a battle cruiser out as well, shadowed by a couple of bulwarks. That combined with the volume of Navy out of Voided Marrow can make for a pretty potent combination here for Gula to deal with, considering he doesn't have any Tech 3 Navy yet.
Yeah, and honestly, just the mass exodus we see here, there's so much mass in those exodus right now, you could probably just select it. There's probably more mass and exodus on the map than most other players have in their entire navies at the moment. There's, what, 16,000? If I'm reading that correct?
Yeah, we have 7 exodus right now.
Yeah, and I'm only seeing a couple of Valiants out for the other side, not even seeing a lot of Coopers. I think the shield boat went down. It's looking really bleak right now for our purple player here. I think he's probably about to collapse. But on the eastern side, both players on the eastern side for Team 2 are in really rough positions. And now you can see the another drop of land factories over here for Flying Donut, and those are going to be really painful. This is where we wanted to see that drop earlier in the game. Instead of going around the side, going right here would have been a better choice earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Still, though, for Team 2, I'm not sure we're ready to count them out just yet.
Oh yeah, no, it's anybody's game. Morax and Voided Marrow are doing amazing.
So, and as with all things in Forge Alliance Forever, a very, very quick turn can always happen. But yeah, it's not looking super good now for the Flying Donut or for the Terminator.
Yeah, and here's where I was talking about. Those torpedo bombers are just streaming out of the base of Kamar. And that is going to be... well, I mean, not if they just sit there. Well, luckily he's up against an Aeon force that didn't build cruisers or hover flak, so there's literally nothing shooting these right now because frigates don't have AA.
Yeah, Gula though with his own battle cruiser, and that definitely in conjunction with the torpedo bombers that are out right now is definitely going to make Voided Marrow think twice before he potentially loses some bone marrow for his trouble.
One important thing though is that massive fight, Morax is getting almost all the reclaim. If you control shift, you can see where his engineers are. That entire fight was probably somewhere in the range of 30,000 reclaim. He's already gotten half of it.
That's a very good point. Yeah, Morax with quite a few engineers out.
That's one of the biggest things with naval battles. If you're trying to improve your naval game, you need to be producing engineers. You need to probably produce factories. Like when you see high-rated players start throwing factories all across the map, they're only building engineers. They're not like building forward frigates or attacking units. They're building engineers because the biggest thing with Navy is if you can win a fight, even if you only for a couple of minutes hold that territory, if you have engineers right behind your force just to come up and scoop up the mass, you won the fight twice as hard because anything that died, you got a rebate and they didn't.
Very true. As we see Morax now getting also into the T3 air game with ASFs out on the field, combating the torpedo bombers there from Kamar.
Yep, and he's also pushing into the middle, trying to relieve some of this pressure from Flying Donut. Those battle cruisers are going to be very important, and the shield boat's going to really help them stay safe from the torpedo bombers as long as they aren't in too high number. Needs probably more cruisers. I see like 3 there, but that's only... Well, after the shield boats, that's only 15 torpedo bombers. It's not very difficult to deal with that.
What do you mean after the shield boats?
After you break through the shield boats, shield, it's only 15 torpedo bombers to kill 3 cruisers.
Oh, gotcha. That's what you meant. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, 5 torpedo bombers kills a cruiser. And this is where it's really, really useful to use Shift G. So if you've got, say, 20 torpedo bombers, you can select all of them and hold Shift, right-click all of the cruisers. And then while you're holding Shift, just add a push G as well. And then it spreads out all your attacks. And Willow did an excellent tutorial on that long time ago, but still very pertinent.
If you are new to FAF, they changed the default keybind to Control Z.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why, because Control G worked fine. It was for... the name of the command is Group Command. I guess they were like, Control Z is less finger stretching.
Well, I'm still using Shift G, but I also like manually bound my keys, so that might be it. But
it's only for new installs. It's not for... They didn't change it. They didn't change any hotkeys for somebody who already had the game installed and had their settings.
Okay, gotcha.
At least that's what I've been told. I'm not 100%. I haven't tried it. I haven't reinstalled FAF and seen what happens.
Gotcha. But either way, if you're curious on the mechanics of that, go watch Willow's video. Willow, if you can send me a link, I'll link it down in the description below. But it's a very useful video for a lot of different things, not just spread attacking bombers, but also for trapping commanders that are trying to move into the water. It's a very useful mechanic, as Morax's naval yard's now starting to come under pressure. He does have a battle cruiser in position to stop it, but this is a good amount. It's 3 destroyers, a couple of barracudas.
I don't think he's in any danger here, especially with that bulwark popping up and soaking up
now
like
he's
30k HP. They might get some damage down on the HQ, but they're not going to kill it, especially with kennels in the area.
Yeah, he's probably just going to lose a bunch of engineers, especially now that he's bringing the rest of his navy back to defend.
Overall, another really useful video, especially for learning Navy stuff. Duelist has done an overview of the navies of all the factions, which he should link below. I believe it's specifically T2 Navy, which is kind of your bread and butter. Most games will end before T3 Navy.
Yeah, I've done destroyers, cruisers, and battleships.
Yeah, Aeon Cruiser is the worst. Just build hover flak.
That is very true.
Hover flak and asylums will do a better job at killing torpedo bombers. It won't kill strat bombers, but if you're relying on a cruiser to kill the strat bombers, you're already in a bad position.
Well, let's be honest. If you're using strat bombers to kill Navy, you're in a bad position too.
No, you're just balling.
But this is interesting. We have a drop from Shazam
Is
in
he
the
mass throwing?
bottom left-hand side of the map. He is, yeah.
Yeah, he could already have 2 summits if he didn't build 3 at the same time.
That is true.
Now it's gonna get spotted.
Yep. So scouts out.
And
it has been spotted.
If the battle cruisers or the navy of Voided Marrow gets there beforehand, he just lost like. Right now, he has close to like 60,000. Not quite 60. He has over an experimental's worth of mass in that right now.
It looks like torpedo bombers are actually going to be the weapon of choice here, as Voided Marrow scrambling the torps. Going to try and make a move on this position. These are all Tech 2 engineers too. Damn. That's really expensive. There is an air cleaner up. So torps probably not going to get a whole lot done here. I don't think there's enough of them to really kill very much of this.
If they were, it looks like. Wait, did they shift G'd on the factories? I might have gone for the engineers over the factories, but I'm not sure. It's a tough call. I mean, also that's not enough torpedo bombers to kill the factories very quickly either.
I mean, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough torpedo bombers to kill anything, because you're not going to be able to kill all the engineers unless I think you manually shift G all of them.
If there's not a repair command, he might kill one of the factories right now.
Maybe. Actually, yeah, you can see one of them very heavily damaged.
Yeah, it's gonna survive, but that is very unfortunate because 3 summits changes everything. But yet again, Voided Marrow may still show up with his navy in time to just negate this. 1 summit down. The issue right now, though, is that these summits have no answer to T1 subs, so that's a situation.
It'll take a long time, but they will get it done.
That is the truth.
As actually Voided Marrow moving his navy away.
I love that we both have the exact same instinct. We said "as" at the same time. It's just like, yep, that's just the caster word.
That is.
As something or other.
Yeah. Or yeah.
All we're trying to do is avoid the dreaded ums and ahs.
That's why I say words like fuck and shit. It's better. That was whenever. So again, going back to podcast mode for a second, as Torps getting taken out by Kmar's air, which is vastly superior. Well, actually, I don't know. Morax has. I'll put a pin in that thought for a second as we do a quick ASF count. We got 38 there for Morax. Terminator has. Click. Give me.
Are you double clicking?
Yeah.
Were you double? Control click, buddy.
No, I'm double clicking.
Control click is so much better.
59. Okay, so excuse the man that is telling me the wrong way to do things in the background. It's they're pretty even on air.
Yeah,
It's
I'll backseat cast you.
it's, it's about 60 ASF versus 60. 2 players on the southern team, 1 player in the northern team. Anyway, what I was about to say was whenever I did so I was homeschooled throughout high school and throughout elementary school, middle school, and high school. And yeah, I'm one of the weird kids that you read about. And whenever I did this homeschool, were you homeschooled as well?
No, I was just quoting the water boy. My mama said, but my mama said.
I thought you said I'm sad. Gotcha.
No.
So anyway, I did like a public speaking and debate, like competitive league. And so they were really, really interested in making sure that we didn't say like, filler words. So I started using fuck and shit, and that didn't really fly in the homeschool speech and debate league. So, as I'm sure you can understand, but.
Yeah. I just slowly beat it into myself to stop doing it during my Fallout 4 Let's Play. And I still do it from time to time. I'm really bad about it whenever I'm not recording. Like, I'll go to play D&D, and I'll be in the back of my mind like, why are you going and all the time? But just keep doing it.
As we have a nuke out from Morax now. Going after... This is, I think, going after Shazam on the back.
With the nuke launcher. Yeah, there's a nuke launcher there for him too.
Yeah, but no SMD.
What icon mod do you use?
This is vanilla icons with something that highlights the commander.
Oh, gotcha. I thought I saw a nuke symbol on his nuke launcher as well.
Oh, yes, I do highlight, yeah, nuke launchers and SMDs, as well as TMLs.
Yeah, I think it's eternal strategic icons now. It's also nice if you're in the market for another one. It gives different icons for support commanders and commanders. It also puts a white box around commanders and white boxes around both SMD, TMD, and nuke launchers and tactical missile launchers.
I'll have to look at it. It's an ongoing saga with me and my community on what unit icon I use, or what unit icon mod I use.
Yeah, and I'm in the camp of I hate what is it, advanced icons. I've always hated it.
Advanced strategic icons, yeah.
Yeah, Eternal is about as far as I want it to change, so that's the one I've been using. It's pretty similar.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out because I genuinely liked advanced strategic icons. And whenever I did that community poll, there was one commenter that was like, leave it at 50-50, make him make his own decision. I'm like, I'm doing this for y'all. Like, if I make my own decision, I'm staying with advanced strategic icons.
So I'll say the reason I don't like advanced is it's not like, and I'm happy that people like it, dude. Like what you like and all that stuff. Like, not here to like gatekeep or anything. That's stupid. I don't like it just because I'm way too comfortable with the original ones and I don't want to learn new ones. That's the entire reasoning.
I mean, that's definitely fair.
Yeah.
As Flying Donut actually mass producing Corsairs out of his Tech 3 Air Factory, does have an SMD up, so did scout, I think, the strategic missile launcher from earlier, but that is, of course, unnecessary as I don't think there's another launcher out. But everybody has built SMDs, actually with the exception of Exterminator, who had the nuke incidentally fly right over him. But Corsairs, mass-produced out of this position. What do you think?
They wouldn't nuke the same island twice. They're not barbarians.
They're not barbarians.
He just holds too much respect for the enemy. He expects honor, but there is no honor in FAF. You have people like me who spam Chrono.
Oh my god. Yeah, that
if you ever need if you never need an argument for nihilism or losing faith in humanity, Chrono is it.
That is a pretty damn good one. But curious what you think about the massive amount of Corsairs coming out here from Flying Donut.
I actually think Corsairs are... I think all of the fighter bombers are actually decent against even Navy. Like if you're just like looking for torpedo bombers are better, but if you're going to try and snipe something and then like you lose air or something, they're gonna kill destroyers and big boats just fine. Did those 3 battleships manage to make it out?
We missed it. It looks like that was entirely cleaned up.
Yeah, but all 3 battleships I remember finishing. Are they over there in the Navy? Yep,
These
they are.
These are battle cruisers. Well, there's 1 battleship in here. So maybe 1 made it out, but I think the rest of them died. As we do have another nuke now out from Morax. This time going for Gula. Gula's nuke defense not loaded.
And he's stalling really hard. I think that's why he went for it. Like,
yeah.
He doesn't have, just looking at his economy, he doesn't have the economy to load that and still be producing the T3 Navy he was trying.
Yeah. All tech
generally
is fully ringed.
It really hurts, but generally whenever you see that nuke launcher is finished, you gotta pause some stuff and stop your stall no matter what to load yours. Because you'll always win if you use even slightly similar amounts of build power to build your anti-nuke.
Yeah. And Morax, I think eco-wise, probably in a better position, not even stalling yet on the mass front, just because of all this reclaim that he's been getting off of these islands. Like you can look at how much reclaim there is here and how much we've seen die here. There's a lot more that's died here than what is on the map, and there's still a lot of reclaim that Morax is out here getting with engineers.
He's at 34,000 reclaim, which is nearly double the next person. And as I said, a big part of Navy is having engineers to reclaim after you win a fight, or hell, after if a fight goes even and both sides pull back, if your engineers get there first, that's still a win.
Flying Donut once again under pressure from both Navy and Air. Does have Terminators, torpedo bombers to back him up, but looks like Exterminator has his own torpedo bombers. They are going to be able to drop that battleship real quick. Already down below half HP.
Valiant and Salem there
fast.
doing very well too. Yeah.
So this is, I guess, one advantage of the Corsairs is they're not very good at fighting things that can shoot back, but I mean they can help with torpedo bombers, where if you built a bunch of torpedo bombers you'd be kind of SOL at this point.
Yeah. Also, I think an air fight took place, but it just seems like both of the players with air on Team 2 are very slow to respond whenever there's a lot of torpedo bombers. I think that Team 2 might be ahead on air. Like, those 2 clouds out from Terminator and Morax seems like a decent number compared to what Kamar has.
We've got 33 and 36 versus 73 actually for Kamar.
That's
so
parity.
Yeah, it's about even.
It's like 4 or 5 ASF that's decided by turns.
Oh yeah. I think a lot more is actually decided by turns. I think you could, if you turn well, I think that you could beat a 10 to 20 ASF lead.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean it also depends. If you're talking about like 300 ASF, good turns can negate like 50, 60 ASF.
Oh yeah, it scales.
Yeah.
Torpedo
I'm
bombers,
glad to
though.
see.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Morax with torpedo bombers now. I'm glad to see that Team 2 is getting into that game. And these nukes have really just given Team 2 a very positive position right now. It's basically just Karmar versus the world. As despite all of his air leads and everything, he hasn't been able to deal with this pressure Morax has put out. Morax has just played a stellar game, and Voided Marrow has just been a very good kind of naval support there. He's just constantly, anytime Morax takes a bad fight, Voided Marrow shows up and tries to fix it.
Yeah, he is the Scooby to Morax's Shaggy, I guess would be the best way to put it, as Exterminator also hasn't really been that molested this game, but I feel like we haven't really... He's built some Navy and definitely put some pressure on Flying Donut, but I haven't felt as much of a crushing blow out of him as I have out of Morax, who is now really starting to take over the map, I think.
Yeah, it's looking bleak. Would not be surprised to see this one go the way of Team 2 in the next couple of minutes. It's looking pretty dire because there's not nearly enough Navy on the map to deal with Morax's Navy, and they don't have enough of an air lead to just say, screw it, I'll torpedo bomber you to death.
That's true. And Gula about to lose a lot of his naval production. He actually has not turned it off. Really should think about turning your naval production off whenever you have
one T2 mechs.
Yeah, I was gonna say no mexes, but I just saw he has one T2 mex.
Half ringed, so it's like what, 7 mass a second?
Something like that. Let's look. Hey, give the man a
I know
gold
my
star.
numbers. Oh,
Torpedo
yeah.
bombers though still out from Kamar, trying to get rid of as much of Morax's Navy as possible, and Exterminator throwing out some Tech 2 torpedo bombers as well, and Terminator gonna lose a lot of his air in pursuit of these torpedo bombers, and that's really, I think, Kamar's strength here is he has to work on the lapse of communication between Terminator and Morax and take one air player at a time, which is kind of what we see there. He crushes Terminator, then goes and crushes Morax. So as long as these guys aren't fighting in sync, Kamar's in good shape.
Yeah, the big thing here is, like, the big takeaway, and on a lot of Navy maps, I'm a big fan of this, is just give units to somebody. Give all of your air units to the player you think has the best air micro. Give naval units on a certain flank to just one player and let them do all of the micro, because it just makes it easier to manage in general.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of giving units, period. Like, giving experimentals.
Yeah.
If you don't give somebody an experimental and they needed it and they died and you lose the game because they died and you didn't give them an experimental, there's no points for you having an experimental. You don't gain any rating points from that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we got another nuke out from Morax again. This time it is going for Exterminator, who still does not have an SMB.
Yeah, I mean, he relied on civility, and it failed him. We do not live in a society.
We do not live in a society.
And he's actually going to die to that nuke, much like his ally to the north did. He's not going to escape the range of it.
Yep. And that is going to go to...
Morax putting a heart in chat was adorable.
And Bullseye.
Yeah, I like the heart more than Bullseye. Heart wasn't BM, Bullseye kind of was.
A little bit, but Morax obviously having fun today, I think.
I mean, by all accounts, Team 1 had a decisive advantage for the first about 20 minutes.
Yep, but remaining 2 players from Team number 1 gonna bow out after that. I can't say that I blame them, but great comeback, I think, from Team 2.
Surprisingly coordinated Control K. They Control K'd at like the same exact time.
Oh, they might have been on comms, but I think it was a good comeback from Team 2. I think the Team 2 were definitely on the ropes in the early stages of the game.
Morax MVP, by far, in my opinion. But Terminator did a good job of recovering. Like he did. Like whenever I said like I felt like it was a little bit over when he lost like 30 or 70% of his mexes. Like he lost almost every mex on his island between the strap bomber and the naval pressure out from Cyan.
Yeah, definitely did a good job of recovering from that first strap bomber, and Flying Donut also deserves, I think, a little bit of kudos here for not folding and continuing to fight on and being a thorn in Team number 1's side. But as we close this out, Willow, do you have anything else to say?
Oh man, I love this podcast.
Dude, I like this podcast too. It should just be a podcast with a FAF game in the background, or like
I've said I'm gonna start doing that like so many times, and people are like FAF podcast, yeah, because there's the FAF podcast meme, because there was a FAF podcast for a bit and it was horrible.
Oh, really? There was? Who did it?
Apparently there was like 2 or 3 episodes and it was not good. I don't remember. I've just been told about it. Like I don't know if it's true or not even, to be honest. But I've been told there was a FAF podcast and that it was bad.
That'd be kind of interesting. So
So
for those
like
of y'all that are still here, let us know down in the comments if that would be something that y'all would be interested in seeing. We could I don't know, alternate episodes on our channels or start a new channel. I don't know. But
I'm down to
we
start
could
a new
figure it out.
channel for podcast, but honestly, if we're doing a podcast, I think it's just FAF game in the background and then normal fucking podcast. That seems so much funnier to me.
Oh yeah, well we'd have a FAF game in the background, and then like whoever is working the camera could like zoom in and out on things that are actually happening, but we could talk about like video games or whatever is going on, kind of like we do in our normal cast. So I don't know. Let us down in the comments, but let us know down in the comments below if y'all would think that would be cool, and we might actually give it a shot. So Willow, anything to say in closing?
Subscribe to TheDuelist. He puts a lot of effort into especially his scripted content, and it's by far, in my opinion, the best scripted content FAF currently gets. So much so that I copied it with FAF Social Science, and should make another one of this. But
Your
yeah,
your social science video was really good.
I already know what the next one will be. Do you all? You know what? I'll give everybody a sneak peek, a surprise on it, so you can clickbait that or something. Willow shares his deepest secret
On the podcast.
on the podcast. Yes, that would be the best title for this. The next social science is going to be called Why You Don't Play FAF. I'm going to get a bunch of people who claim that they don't play FAF and ask them why they don't, like the people who consume the content they say they don't play. And I'm going to address each point and tell them why they should.
That is a very interesting video idea.
I'm gonna basically negate everybody who's like I'd play FAF, but so that way I can just point a video whenever people say that.
Oh, I love that idea. So yeah, I'll definitely whenever you end up doing that, I'll see if I remember to come back and link it in this video's description for people that come back and watch this in the future. But for today, that is it. Great comeback by team number 2. And yeah, there's not a whole lot else to say about this map. I really like this map. I really enjoyed this match. I really enjoy Willow. Thank you very much for sharing your wonderful wispiness with us. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, I'll also make sure you grill him in the comments for the guitar wood thing.
Or that thing. Yeah, that one too. Bye, y'all. See you in the next one.